board syllabus, particularly NCERT syllabus. Okay. So in addition to what you were learning in your schools, uh, we were providing all the basic things that are there in NCERT with some additional information. Okay. So these were completely focused on your board syllabus, preparing you for your board examinations. On the other hand, these classes, which we are starting from today, these are completely focused on IIT Foundation. Completely focused on IIT Foundation. Okay. So everyone might be familiar with this word IIT, IIT classes, IIT coaching, IIT colleges. What are you doing? I'm preparing for IIT. All these things. Those who have inclination towards engineering, they will be speaking about this IIT, and those who are inclined towards medicine, those who want to become doctor, they will be speaking of NEET. Okay, or I will put these two things together: IIT or NEET Foundation. So these two, they are actually entrance examinations. IIT and NEET are entrance examinations. IIT is for those students who want to do engineering. And NEET is the entrance examination for those who want to become doctors, medicine. Right? And if you want to do engineering, the best college that you can find in India is IIT. IIT is actually name of an institution, Indian Institute of Technology. Okay. And if you want to do medicine, the best college that you can find in India is what you call as AIMS, All India Institute of Medical Sciences. And there is also JIPMER. Okay. Um, Jawaharlal Institute of, I think it is Primary Medical Education and Research, AIMS, JIPMER, and AFMC is there, Armed Forces Medical College, and the local government medical colleges which are there in your town. All these things, from all these medical colleges, you can do medicine. But AIMS is the topmost college. Okay. Similarly, for engineering, IIT is the topmost institution. And after these IITs, you have NITs, which are National Institute of Technology. Then you have IIITs, Indian Institute of Information Technology. Then you have university campuses, central university campuses, your local state university campuses, deemed universities, very famous private colleges. The list goes on in decreasing order. Okay, decreasing order of priority. IITs are the topmost sought after colleges to do engineering. And if you want to enter IIT, there is a procedure. You should go through entrance examinations. The entrance for IIT is conducted in two phases. First phase is what we call as after you clear your class 12. After your class 12, you should appear for an examination called JEE main. JEE main. JEE means Joint Entrance Examination. Joint Entrance Examination. Main. This is the first stage of that exam. Okay. And this is a all India level examination. Students from all over India will be appearing for this examination. Around every year, around 15 to 16 lakh students will be appearing for this. Okay. And the syllabus for this JEE main examination is syllabus of your 11th and 12th classes. Whatever you study in your 11th and 12th classes, That will be the syllabus for JEE main examination. Okay, and not all students can clear this examination. Those students who have cleared the examination, they have to appear for another examination, which is JEE Advanced. JEE Advanced. You can say that this is the second stage of that examination. Okay. And who is eligible to appear for JEE Advanced examination? Out of these 15 to 16 lakh students, let us say some 8 lakhs are qualified. Some 8 lakh students are qualified. Whatever you can understand it like pass or fail. 16 lakh students are appearing for the examination, and out of them, let us say 8 lakh students pass. We call it as qualifying the examination. Out of these 8.8 lakh who are qualified in JEE main, not all 8 lakh students can appear for JEE advanced. Only the top 2.55 lakh, top 2.55 lakh students out of this 8 lakh will be eligible to appear for JEE advanced examination. Okay, and once you clear this JEE advanced examination, you can enter IIT. Okay, suppose you don't clear JEE advanced, you have qualified in JEE main, but you don't clear. That means you are in this 8 lakh, but you are not in this top 2.55 lakh. Then you cannot get admission in IIT, but you can get admission in NITs or triple ITs or some very premier institutions like Tata institution is there, and many nationwide renowned colleges are there. In those colleges, you can get admission based on your score in JEE main. But if you want admission in IIT, Indian Institute of Technology, then you should clear this JEE advanced. That means you should be in the top 2.5 lakh, right? And 2.55 lakh students are appearing for JEE advanced. How many seats are there? In India, as of this year, 23 IITs are there. 23 IITs are there. In AP, we have IIT in Tirupati. In Telangana, we have IIT in Medak. Okay, IIT Delhi, IIT Kanpur, Kharagpur, Madras, Bombay, all these are very famous IITs. 23 IITs are there. And all put together in these 23 IITs, how many seats are there? Roughly, it is 19,000. No, not 19,000. It is roughly 26,000 seats are there. This keeps changing because every year some new courses will be added, seats will be enhanced. It changes some plus or minus 1,000, 2,000 like this. So out of 2.55 lakh students, only 26,000 students can get into IIT. Okay. Just a minute, not even 26,000, it is only 16,000 change, not 26, 16,000. So you can calculate the ratio, 16,000 by 2.55 lakh, very small ratio. So that means competition. Why I am telling you all this thing is, first of all, you should get an idea of what these examinations are. Then what is the competition level that is there in the market. Okay, so you have to compete with 15 to 16 lakh students in the first stage, then with 2.5 lakh students in the second stage to get into an IIT. And what should you be prepared for? This examination will be conducted in all the 3 subjects, maths, physics, and chemistry. Okay, pattern of examination, all these things, they are there. We'll discuss them later, or even Rajesh sir will give you further details regarding this. The point that I want you to understand is, it is a difficult examination. It's not impossible, It is possible but difficult. It needs a lot of preparation. It needs a lot of hard work. It needs a lot of commitment from the side of student. Okay, and one point is, if you start preparing for this JE, and the same thing is for NEET also. Even for NEET also, more or less the situation is the same. 15 to 16 lakh students will be appearing for NEET, and there are some 25 to 30,000 government medical seats in India. So competition in NEET is furthermore. These 16,000 seats are only in IITs. If you take NITs, triple ITs, central universities, all these things, it will go to some 1.2, 1.3 lakh. Okay, but for NEET, put together all the government colleges seats, there are some hardly 55 to 60,000. So competition is furthermore for NEET. So be it IIT or NEET, whatever you are preparing for, there is a lot of competition. And to make through that competition, you should start a best strategy. A good strategy is to start your preparation early instead of waiting up to joining 11th and 12th. A better strategy is to start early. How early? From first class or LKG or UKG? Not that early. 8th class is the right time. In some schools, even these classes they have started from class 6 also. So that's not the right time. The student needs some basic knowledge to understand these advanced concepts. So class 8 is the right time. 8th, 9th, 10th. Along with your board studies, if you prepare properly, allot some extra time and put some extra efforts in understanding, gaining some basic knowledge of these subjects at a higher level, at level of class 11 and class 12, then when you enter into class 12, 11, you will be very comfortable when compared to your other friends. You can compare a student who has taken IIT foundation course and a student who has not taken IIT foundation course. There will be a lot of difference. Student who has taken the course, he or she will be familiar with the terminology that you will come across there, with some of the concepts, some of the models of questions, some of the mathematical, all the skills that you need, you will be familiar. So you can cope up easily. It's just like, say, this is nothing technically, it's only common sense. Suppose you are riding a bicycle and you see a sharp slope ahead. What do you do? You will increase your speed. You will increase your speed, right? Increase your speed because you see that slope ahead. If you go with the same speed, chances are that you might not able to climb it. In some way in the middle, you should get down your bicycle and you should push it, or you should invest very much efforts to come over that steep. But if you increase your speed right from here, you can easily cross over that slope. Okay, the same thing is here. If you start your preparation after entering into class 11, you need to put very hard work, even hours of 15 to 16 hours of time every day. It will be difficult. So if you start preparing early, you'll get an advantage. That is the basic idea behind this foundation classes. Second point. Third point, whether you are in class 8 or class 9 or class 10, forget your class, forget your board syllabus. Don't say that this chapter is not in our textbook, that chapter, that topic is not, we don't know it. You forget all these things. Start with a fresh mind. All of you, irrespective of your classes, you are here to prepare for IIT or NEET. So the syllabus, the topics, they are common, whether you are in class 8 or class 9 or class 10, or even some student who comes from class 11 or 12, the topics are same. Okay. And we will discuss these topics right from 0 level. We'll go to advanced level. Okay. So for this, you need to, first of all, focus very much on the classes. Focusing means I want focus more than what you are focusing on your board classes. And you should be ready to spend some extra time after the class, revise the notes that you get as the PDF, and refer to some material that you might be having from your school or from your personal things. If I will send a list of prescribed or popular textbooks which are very good for developing your foundation skills. I will send a list of that. You can try to purchase those books and follow that. Okay, these are the things. So try to focus on the concept, particularly for physics. And unless and until you understand the concept clearly, you cannot solve questions. And all the questions that you get in JEE Main or JEE Advanced, they are of MCQ type. Multiple choice questions will be there. And 90% of the questions will be numericals, problems. So you should develop your problem solving skills slowly. We will not get this in 1 day or 1 week or 1 month. It might take time depending on your efforts. So don't get discouraged or don't get depressed that after listening to one class or two classes, you are not understanding, you are not able to follow. You did not walk in the first attempt, right? When you are 1.5 year old, you did not start walking in the very first attempt. You fell down many times. Now you can walk very easily without even bothering about that, right? And you can remember how you learned riding your bicycle. Did you get it for the very first time? No, nobody gets it. So don't get depressed, don't get demotivated that you are not able to understand in the beginning. Give some time to it, increase your efforts, focus more, spend some more time, you'll understand it. Okay, right. And coming to the physics part, the syllabus that we have, the syllabus that we will be discussing for this course is this. This is the syllabus. We'll be discussing 4 topics. First is vectors. Vectors. It is a very, very important basic thing which you need to understand physics. Vectors is a prerequisite to understand physics completely. Without knowledge of vectors, you will understand only half of the physics. Okay. And these are the topics that we have. We'll go into the details when we start it. Then, second is motion in a straight line. Motion in a straight line. These are the topics. Third is motion in a plane. Motion in a straight line is motion taking place in 1 dimension. Motion in a plane is motion taking place in 2 dimensions. If bodies are moving in a plane, 2 dimensions, how do they move? What do they? How do they behave? We study all these things here. Then fourth is laws of motion. Newton's laws of motion. A very, very uh, prime and very important chapter in entire physics. Laws of motion. Then, if you relate it with like laws of motion is like one of the pillars of entire physics. Okay, so let us start with vectors first. Vectors. Vectors. What are vectors? What is their significance? Why do we need them in physics? How are they useful? All these things. Okay, right. See, to begin with, in physics we study physical quantities. Physical quantities. Physics is actually a quantitative subject. Quantitative means which involves measurements, which involves calculations. Qualitative means something which can be just described theoretically without any usage of mathematics. Quantitative, where you measure something, where you calculate something, where you derive something, where you apply mathematics, that is quantitative. And physics is a quantitative subject. So you will be measuring some quantities whenever you do some experiment or whenever you do some calculations. You will be performing those calculations on some quantities. We call them as physical quantities. Physical quantities. And if you try to define it, physical quantities are any quantity any quantity that can be measured directly or indirectly. Is a physical quantity. Okay. So anything which you can measure is a physical quantity. What can we, that means, are there any things that we cannot measure? Yes, there are some things in nature which we cannot measure. You cannot measure happiness, right? You cannot measure hard work. You cannot measure pain. Okay, you cannot measure love. All these are emotions. We don't have any instruments or any formulas to calculate our emotions. Keeping these emotions aside, all the other things that we see in nature, like distance, can be measured. It can be calculated. Time can be measured. Speed can be measured. Force can be measured. Pressure can be measured. Like this, there is a very long list. And if you take the physics that you study right from your class 6 to class 12, you will come across some 90 to 100 different physical quantities in physics. If I write down a list, I'll get roughly some 100 different physical quantities that you study up to your class 12. Okay, right. So what are those physical quantities? You will come across them, some of them slowly in each and every chapter. You will come across new physical quantities. Okay. Now, out of all these 80 or 100 physical quantities, there are certain quantities. We have classified these quantities. We have classified all the physical quantities into two types. One set we call them as scalars, and the other set we call them as vectors. So, physical quantities, all these physical quantities, we have classified into two categories: scalars and vectors. Okay. What is the difference? What is the basic difference? The basic difference is in their nature. The basic difference is in their nature. What is that thing? See, there are certain quantities. There are certain quantities which can be described. To describe any physical quantity, you need its value, right? Magnitude, which we call as magnitude. Suppose if I tell you that my college is far away from my home. College is far away from my home. How much far away? If I just tell you that college is far away from home, it's just a qualitative description. You're not getting complete information from that. That far away can be 1 kilometer, 10 kilometer, 100 kilometer. Okay, so I must specify it. How far away? I must specify. To specify that thing, I'll use a quantity distance. So I'll tell you that my college is 10 kilometer away from my home. Now you get an idea. 10 kilometer away from my home. Okay. Or that car is going very fast. Very fast means it's qualitative. You need to particularly mention, which is quantitative thing. The speed of that car is, you can express it like 50 kilometer per hour, 80 kilometer per hour, like that. Then we'll get a clarity. So we need some value for each and every physical quantity. We call that value as magnitude of the physical quantity, right? Like in 10 kilometer, 10 is the magnitude, and 50 kilometer per hour, 50 is the magnitude. This is the unit, kilometer per hour or meter or second. These are units, right? Now, scalars are those physical quantities. Scalars are those physical quantities which can be described completely only with their magnitude. So scalars are those physical quantities which can be described completely only with their magnitude. Magnitude means value, numerical value. Like in 10 seconds, 10 is the magnitude. Okay. A force of 8 Newton is acting on a body. 8 is the magnitude, right? Numerical value is the magnitude. So you can completely describe a scalar quantity only with its magnitude. You don't need any other information, extra information to describe scalars. Like, for example, if I tell you that mass of a body is 4 kg. I have some body whose mass is 4 kg. If I tell you 4 kg, that's enough. You can completely understand that physical quantity. I did not give you any extra information, right? I did not tell you that its mass is 4 kg in north direction or in southeast direction. You don't need this direction at all to describe mass. It has got nothing to do with direction. So mass. Similarly, temperature, right? So if I tell you that temperature today is 20 degrees Celsius, it is 20 degrees Celsius everywhere. Whether you put that thermometer towards east direction or north direction or vertical direction or downward direction, you'll get the same value, 20 Celsius temperature in all the directions. So only magnitude is sufficient. Mass, temperature, time, right? Then distance, then speed, all these quantities, they are scalar quantities. They can be described only with their magnitudes. No extra information is required. Scalar quantities. Okay. But besides these scalars, there are certain other quantities which cannot be described only with their magnitude. For example, if I tell you that a force of 10 Newton is acting on a body, a force of 10 Newton is acting on a body. Let us say this is a body of some mass, let us say 4 kg mass. And on this body, a force is acting. How much force? 10 Newton force. So if I tell you this, I'm not giving you complete information. Why? Because there are different possibilities. 10 Newton force can be acting on the body like this. Okay. Or it can be acting like this. This is also possible. It can be acting like this. It can be acting like this, like this, like this, like this, like this. Infinite possibilities are there. So if I just tell you that 10 Newton force is acting, it is not complete information. So that force, that quantity force is not being described completely only with its magnitude. 10 Newton is not sufficient. Then what do you want along with that? You need direction also. You need direction also. If I tell you that a force of 10 Newton is acting towards east, a force of 10 Newton is acting on the body towards east. If I take this north, this south, this is east, this is west, then this is the only possibility, right? If I tell you force of 10 Newton towards east, you cannot think that it is this, you cannot think that it is this, you cannot think that all these possibilities are now ruled out. So this is the force that I want to describe. Like this, some physical quantities need direction also for their complete description. Without directions, their description is incomplete. You cannot get complete information or complete understanding of that physical quantity without direction. We call such physical quantities as vectors. This is a fundamental difference between scalars and vectors. So these can be described completely with both magnitude and direction. Yes, meanwhile, if you have any questions, any doubts, you can ask.
Sir, I have doubt.
Uh,
Sir, how is distance a scalar? Because we need to tell the information 50 kilometers towards east.
if you add direction to distance, it becomes displacement, which is displacement is a vector quantity. Distance is a scalar quantity.
Okay, sir.
There we have defined them in two different ways.
Sir, and you told that learning vectors is prerequisite for learning physics. What does it
Yes,
mean, sir? Prerequisite.
prerequisite means you need to say like learn ABCD first to
Primary,
learn
sir.
English, or you need to know multiplication tables first to understand mathematics. Just like you can compare it with multiplication tables. If you don't learn multiplication tables, it becomes very difficult for you to understanding mathematics. Similarly, if you don't understand vectors, it will be difficult for you to understand physics.
Sir? Okay.
Yes,
Sir, is the friction vector or scalar, sir?
friction is a force. So force is a vector quantity.
Okay, sir.
Sir, what is velocity?
What is
Sir, what is velocity?
velocity is a vector quantity.
Sir, he's asking what is velocity, sir.
What is velocity? Okay, okay. We'll study that. We'll study that.
Sir, is energy
So,
also scalar quantity?
yes, energy is also scalar. You will come across many new quantities here which you don't know yet, but during our classes you will come across all them slowly.
Sir, but we can measure energy, no, sir.
Yes,
Sir,
we
what
can
is
measure
meaning
energy.
of momentum, sir?
How this become a scalar quantity, sir?
Scalars are those quantities. It's not like scalars are
Like it
quantities which
can be described within their magnitudes.
scalars are quantities which can be measured, but which can be described only with magnitude. They don't depend on direction.
Sir,
Sir,
power.
Power is also a scalar quantity.
Sir, sound.
sir,
So
Sound is
sound,
energy.
right?
Sound is a form of energy, so it is
Sir,
also scalar quantity.
but in force we are mass into acceleration only, sir. But
Yes.
it do not depends on direction, no, sir.
Force depends on direction because mass does not has direction, but acceleration has direction. So force has direction.
Sir,
what is momentum?
sir, work, sir.
If that someone is asking what is momentum, that's what I was telling you. You will come across many new quantities here which you don't know yet. But during our classes, by the time we complete these 3-4 chapters that I mentioned, you will be coming
Sir,
across
work,
all these
sir, work.
quantities.
Okay,
Work is
sir.
also scalar.
Sir, I have a doubt.
Can you explain how a
Oh,
Sir, you told that everything in universe except emotions is a physical quantity.
yes.
Sir, some like dark matter, dark energy, or singularities, are they also physical quantities?
Dark matter, it's only a theoretical proposal. We have not
Sir,
verified it
actually people
experimentally.
do not know does that
So
exist or not,
might
sir.
be when you when science advances so much, we might be able to measure dark matter also.
Sir,
Sir,
once again, can you
singularities?
clarify my doubt? Once again, sir.
Yes, yes, yes.
How acceleration depends upon the direction, sir?
What do you mean by acceleration? First of all, to have to
Acceleration means one of the speed.
So V plus U by T.
not one of the speed, not one of the speed. Acceleration is
Is the
the
rate
rate
of
of
By T.
change
change
of.
of
Yes, yes.
velocity,
Listen,
sir?
listen, listen, listen. Acceleration is rate of change of velocity. Suppose a car, if you push that accelerator, its speed increases, velocity increases. If the speed, let us say it is 2 meter per second, after 1 second it becomes 4 meter per second. After another second it becomes 6 meter per second. So
So
speed
there's no
velocity is increasing. So it has got acceleration. And acceleration means velocity is changing. In which direction is the velocity changing? This direction. If the car is going in the other direction, velocity will be changing in the other direction. So this acceleration is different from this acceleration. So we should assign a direction to acceleration. It is a vector quantity.
Okay, sir.
Certain singularities are the scalars or vectors.
Singularity is a what you call a process, right? It's not a thing. When some star
Yes,
collapses,
sir.
its size becomes almost like a point sized.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Point of
So it is a you can say it is a process which takes place. So process is a different thing from a quantity.
Okay, sir.
Quantity is obtained after the process, sir.
Something you use to describe a process is a quantity. Suppose when you fill air in a balloon, it expands. You describe that expansion in terms of volume or pressure or size. That are quantities.
Sir, but after a singularity, then it comes a point of singularity, no, sir.
And if
Isn't
you're
it a
talking about
quantity?
singularity, if you're talking about singularity, the moment you all the last singularity, they fail.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you cannot
Infinite
apply any
values
physics that you
there.
have here to that singularity. Even time does not have any meaning there.
Sir, is energy also scalar?
So we can't define vector or
Sir,
scalar, sir.
Yes?
So we can't define it's a vector or scalar or even it's a quantity
No.
we can't
No.
define.
No.
Okay, sir.
Sir,
Thank you.
is energy scalar?
Right. Okay, it's almost yes, energy is a scalar quantity. So it's almost time. Your next class will be starting in a few minutes. I should also start the next class. So we'll stop here and continue our discussion tomorrow.
Sir, what is your next
Thank you,
class,
sir. Bye, sir.
Oh, I have some
What
other
is your
class, same
next
set.
class?
Same set.
Okay.
I have
Sir,
class for
thank you, sir.
So, sir, we are going to stay in this meeting, right?
link is the same. Link is the same. You be online. Your next class will start.
Okay, thank you. Bye,
Thank you,
sir.
sir. Bye, sir. Thank you, sir.